Hello guys, and let's talk today about the relationship between two of the most influential and important Ukrainians, President Zelensky and General Zaluzhnyi. And also I'm happy to demonstrate you the difference between a press conference held by a dictator, President Putin, and a president of a free democratic Ukraine, which once again proves us how important it is to stand for democracy. My name is Anna, and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of the brutal Russian invasion. So if you're new to the channel, you support Ukraine, please subscribe and help us fight. Informational warfare is very real. And my longtime friends, check your subscription status and hit notification button. So, just a couple of days ago, we spoke about the press conference of the so-called president, but in reality criminal Putin, where he answered questions that were prepared beforehand, and actually you could not see any misunderstanding, anything unpredictable, and a press conference of a real democratic president of Ukraine, Zelensky. Many of you who follow me for some time know I did not vote for Zelensky on his presidential elections, but I totally support him right now when he demonstrates good qualities of a good leader. In his press conference, he received a lot of questions that he might not have liked or that were not rehearsed beforehand, but this is what makes him real and a Democrat. What is also very illustrative, if you look at the difference between the conferences, the number of foreign journalists. In Ukraine, it was a half of the journalist audience, and they were able to ask questions that may not be loved, like the Ukrainian counteroffensive, problems with the supply, quarrels during elections in different countries, and when will the war finally end? And all of these questions were answered by Zelensky without any preparatory speeches or these cliches that Putin continuously repeats. So even these press conferences, they demonstrate huge difference between Ukraine and Russia, though many of you before the start of this war did not feel or see. So if you feel now this difference, this huge civilizational difference between Ukraine and Russia, remember to subscribe, because 50% of people who watch the videos are not yet in our informational army, and this is important. So demonstrate your solidarity this way too. So there were questions about mobilization, and this is not a simple question because we are not that big as Russia, and at a certain time in life we may reach the limits. But Zelensky is not interested in lowering the specifications for the age, so that he does not want any super young men to be mobilized, and he gets the support of Ukraine. Also, he speaks about people who must work and support Ukrainian economy. Also, there were questions about the potential conflict between President Zelensky and General Zaluzhnyi. And of course, there is some kind of tension between them because, come on, guys, 2 years of war under huge pressure, high expectations every day, it definitely causes some tension. But I was happy to hear that their relations are okay, they are working, they are fighting together, and there is nothing evil, nothing bad between them. Moreover, there are lots of surveys within Ukraine that demonstrate extremely high level of trust to General Zaluzhnyi and a bit lower level of trust to President Zelensky. And Zelensky might be a bit jealous, but they managed to keep it working, and there were no updates about potential changes of the commanders of the Ukrainian army, and people are satisfied with that. Though people do try to quarrel them sometimes, and we have to remember Russian warfare, Russian propaganda is present everywhere, on the US media, on the EU media, and in Ukraine too. So we have to be very aware not to let them quarrel us. Also, there were lots of questions. When will the war end? And the answer is that no one knows, because it's very unpredictable and it can take months or years. It's obvious it will not finish tomorrow. But neither Biden, nor Trump, nor Zelensky, nor even Putin know when will this war end. The only difference is that, of course, the moment Russia stops, everything stops. We cannot stop fighting back because otherwise we will disappear as a nation. So do subscribe and demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. Also, there were questions about lack of support and all the quarrels that take place now in the US Congress. We do understand election is a complicated process that opens up lots of troubles inside every country, but what is bad, Russia observes that, Russia sees that, and Russia tries to play on the emotions of Ukrainians, on the emotions of Americans, on the emotions of the citizens of the European Union, trying to send the message, you cannot win this war, so do sacrifice Ukraine. Guys, if something really bad happens and we do not win this war, it will continue to other countries that Russia considers its sphere of influence, which is a very toxic idea. And also an important fact that the zone of influence is growing huge, because it will definitely include the Baltic countries, Poland, it will include Finland, and it will include some surprisingly unknown for you territories that you've thought were the core of the EU. For example, Putin is crazy and he demonstrates that daily. And I did like Zelensky's reaction when he was asked something about Putin, and he said, I don't know if this person, well, actually, I don't know if we can call him a person. For me, Putin is not a person. And I sometimes have these trolls on the comments who keep telling me, don't you dehumanize Russians by saying they are orcs. Russians have dehumanized themselves when they started war against Ukraine. Totally unjust and totally brutal. And they have to be punished for that, and serious work must take place for decades between them to change them, as it was with other dangerous regimes that we faced back in the 40s. So the press conference was open. There were lots of questions that Zelensky might not have liked. He was emotional because he is emotional, but he answered all of these questions. He spoke about mobilization. He spoke about economic situation. He answered the question about his relationship with General Zaluzhnyi, and I don't feel worried. But I do understand we are entering a very complicated period in this war where we need more of your support than it was even at the beginning. And this support has to be visible because we, first of all, ran out of the supplies that we need at front lines. And second, Putin is watching. He tries to persuade his allies and us that we are all weak and sooner or later we will fall. I don't want to live in a world run by a dictator. So let us stop Putin and not give explanation and inspiration for other similar authoritarian regimes. Subscribe to my Instagram because I'm pretty active there on the updates from my life. Join my Threads Twitter, and we have a beautiful Discord community. Also, we have a nice merch shop where you can find lots of really smart and emotional presents to remind people about Ukraine. The link is below this video. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Together we will win. Slava Ukraini!